yeah. Woo!
YouTube, what is up? We are back with another video, and today is a straight up work day. We are on day 3 in a row. The body is failing. Like, it blows my mind sometimes when I see some of the programs that I run. It's like, how do normal people survive this? Like, I look at, maybe I'm just soft, but I look at myself as like a above average athlete, an above average strength athlete specifically. Recently, I've been taking care of my diet a ton, taking care of my sleep, taking care of my recovery. I'm hot tubbing and sauning every night. My life revolves around the gym and making content. And running this program has me absolutely fucking beat, man. I'm adding a bunch of jumps, I'm adding a bunch of sprints, and a bunch of just general movement throughout the day. But I've cut softball volume to only doing it like twice a week. So maybe that's how they survive, just by not doing literally anything else in life and just strictly running the program. But these weights and percentages, especially back to back to back, and obviously normal people are taking a day off in between. We just don't have enough time this week to be able to do that and still fit in all our training. But our body is beat up, but in a good way. I think it's going to lead to a massive PR. I think this program is needed. It's no slight on the program itself. The program is phenomenal and is definitely showing me like what it takes to reach next levels when it comes to the Olympic lift, which I kind of like in programs. I talk to a lot of coaches about like not dumbing down your program and not simplifying your program and like actually just putting out the way that you train. I think it's really important. I think a lot of coaches like sell athletes and sell clients on one way of training through their page and through their business and through the things they say. And then when they put out their program, they simplify it and dumb it down enough just so everybody can do it. It's like, you're not attracting everybody. You're attracting people that were attracted to your page and your training methods and how hard it was or how cool it was or the different new variations that you have. And they don't want it dumbed down. And so I respect this program for not dumbing it down, but my God, are we sore. We're at the man up to get after it today. We started today with those depth drops. Again, we added 5 jumps from last week. So last week we did 20. This week we did 25 just to wake up the body a little bit. It didn't have a lot of jumping power in me, so that's going to be our jump variations for today to warm us up. Now we got 3 sets of 2 on these cleans, 4 sets of 3 pause squats, and then 3 sets of 5 deadlifts with the same back extension pull-ups we've been doing, that same back attack we've been ripping. So we're just going to keep grinding, continue to put in work, continue to give the body stimulus, and try and survive this week. Tomorrow we're going to go heavy with the sprints, heavy with the snatches, and then we'll have a long weekend in Boston with the girlfriend, and the body's going to need it, and hopefully next week we can get it back after it and be recovered again. I think we're digging just the right amount of hole in our recovery right now to have like a super adaptation coming, and I think we're maxing. I believe if I looked at the program right, we were maxing in 3 weeks, and I think there's going to be massive gains there once we drop the volume and drop the load of everything, and we just kind of peak for that last little bit. So excited for that, but the body's beat up right now. We got to man up and get after this session. Let's go. All right, so to start today, we got 3 sets of 2 at 310 pounds of these cleans. Again, the spine is feeling it from those deadlifts yesterday, so they're probably not going to be the prettiest thing in the world. But again, trying to get this weight up, trying to get 300 pounds plus on the cleans, and 200 plus on the snatches on days when we're feeling like shit. Those are big wins, and it's telling me we're going in exactly the right direction. And just because it feels heavy now doesn't mean it's going to feel heavy once we deload a little bit and we're not crushing ourselves with 5 days of squats a week and 5 days of basically heavy Yoli lifts. There's really not a light day on the program right now that hasn't messed me up. So we're on the right track. If we can do this beat up, I can't imagine what we can do fresh. Let's get after it. That bar is slippery as fuck. That was gross. It didn't even really feel that heavy. It just kept slipping out of my hands. Gotta wipe that baby down. 2 more sets. All right, second set here. Let's man up and get it. Here we go. Oof. Oh yeah, that was better. Going better than I thought today so far. Keep it rolling. All right, gonna try and dial this in and do it without a big reset. Can't promise it's gonna happen. If I bail, I bail. But we're gonna get these 2 reps, try to string them together. We got a banger playing in the background. Let's get it, come on. Oh yeah. Woo! Now we got 4 sets of 3. Pause back squats here at 315 to 340-ish. I believe the transformer bar is 65 pounds, but we're just gonna make every bar 45 pounds so that the math is easier. This will be our first set here. No special reason for using the transformer bar. I kind of think safety bar squats and transformer bar squats are a little bit of a psyops when it comes to like back pain and like squatting with back pain. I think it's really good for shoulders and like getting that shoulder out of that position. But back pain wise, honestly, like I kind of noticed that a lot of athletes get folded over way more in a safety bar squat, which again, you could say trains the back a little bit better. But I think a lot of people push the safety bar squat on athletes that are struggling with back pain when it comes to squatting with a barbell as like an end all be all fix to this, in the same way they kind of do it with like a Swiss bar with the shoulder press. And like truly, I have not found that to be a case for myself and for other athletes. I think a lot of times it's such a new squat pattern and feel, honestly, and they try to load it up in the same exact way that they load up their traditional squats and their traditional bench in a new pattern that they're not used to, working muscles in a different way, and it honestly kind of like feels like shit for a lot of athletes. So I think that's a little bit of a psyops, but it can just be another cool variation of just squatting in a different way, right? And if you use it the right way and you squat in different ways, I think it can make your squat pattern much better, in the same way that pressing in a multitude of ways can make your pressing pattern much better. You can become an adaptable squatter, an adaptable bench presser. Especially when I'm working with powerlifting athletes, it's like, how can we make the thing that they do specifically just a little bit more athletic? And obviously going from one barbell to another barbell isn't the biggest step in athleticism, but when you're so specialized in one bar and one movement pattern, mixing up a little bit and you kind of refuse to actually do totally athletic things. Obviously the goal is to do just more athletic things. We have a lot of powerlifters that are just kind of against that, and they'll switch up their barbells, and that I think that's the reason why it works for them. It just changes up the variation just a little bit, makes them a little bit more adaptable, loads the muscles in just a little bit different way, and makes their sport, the thing they specialize at, just a little bit more athletic. So in some ways, when you're beating yourself up with a barbell over and over and over again, switching up the barbell, it doesn't have to be to a safety squat bar. Shit, it could be this cambered bar squat, it could be a buffalo bar. I don't necessarily think it's the pattern the bar puts you in per se. I think it's just a different squat pattern that matters, and it's not the same thing over and over again. And I think that can lead to strength gains and just feeling a little bit better. But I just have a little bit of beef when coaches only answer to back pain with athletes that struggle squatting is just throw them under a safety bar squat and keeping the load the same and intensity the same. I think that's a really stupid way to go about it. And I know a lot of coaches that do that. And to me, that's just telling me you've never actually had back pain yourself, because you've never actually loaded up a safety squat bar and felt how it feels on the back. And then the difference between a transformer bar and a safety squat bar, this transformer bar has a bunch of different variations here. If you are working with just like a general athlete, like unless you're a really specialized athlete and you just want cool toys and you have the money, I really do not notice the difference, a massive difference between a safety squat bar and a transformer bar. There's some cool variations and some slight tweaks, but again, I don't think that slight tweak is the answer to your pain when you're squatting. I think there's a bunch of other things we can do load management wise first that are going to have a much bigger bang for your buck than spending $1,000 on a bar to get you out of pain. Again, I'm not saying don't go buy a transformer bar. I bought one. I think it's really cool. It's a fun little toy, but it's really nothing more than a fun little toy. In the same way the safety squat bar is nothing more than a fun little toy, unless you have an athlete with shoulder problems. Again, I do think allowing an athlete that has shoulder problems, or allowing an athlete that's in a cast and can't grab onto the bar, just having it be able to sit onto something or be able to do half field squats, that's a cool variation that you can't do with the barbell. But I think a lot of people are kind of sold the lie on the magicness of these transformer bars and these safety squat bars and just any specialty bar in general. I'm not trying to come at the transformer bar specifically. I think it's a phenomenal piece of equipment. I just think coaches take these shiny new toys and like overvalue what they actually do, which I don't think is much. And I don't think you have to do that. I think you can just buy a toy because it's a toy and it's fun and you want to use it, and you don't have to pretend and justify that purchase with it being a holy grail when it's really not that. Again, not trying to shit on this bar. I just know I get the question about safety squat bars and specifically our transformer bar just because it's a little bit more of an expensive piece of equipment. But the biggest thing we use it for is half field squats, lunges, and athletes that have shoulder problems or are in a cast, so we have the option to be able to load them in a different way and just to spice up our squat variations, but we never really use it as a pain management tool. I think there's a ton of better ways to do that load management wise that can help an athlete get out of pain much better, and you don't need special tools to do that. All right, so let's get this set here. Let's go. Oh yeah, let's go. All right, before we hit this last set, we will finish up our rants on the transformer bar with one pro and one con. And the pro is way more important than the con. But when you have the transformer bar, regular collars fit on this bar. There is nothing that drives me more berserk than specialty bars where a regular collar doesn't fit on the fucking bar. Like, what are we doing? You guys couldn't have spent just, I mean, I'm not an engineer. Maybe I sound like an idiot here, but you guys couldn't have spent just a little bit more of a time to create a bar that is the same dimensions of every single other piece of fucking equipment known to man for the history of like barbell lifting, to where we have to buy special collars for your fucking bars. It blows my mind. Like, how did you guys create that product? You put all of that money into that product, and you don't have the dimensions right. To like, this specialty collars is one of the most frustrating things in the world. I don't know if it's a money scam to like try and get you to buy these specialty collars or what it is. But honestly, it makes me not want to buy your products when I have to buy something extra to make your product fucking work. When there's like set dimensions on everything that we do in the weight room, it's one of my biggest pet peeves. I just do not understand how companies put those products out and like, yes, this is the solution. Like, you cut a corner there so that customers have to buy something extra, and it just makes them not want to buy your products, and they're going to go to a product that is a little bit better made, and maybe it's a little bit more expensive, but they're spending less time and energy, and they don't feel like they're getting scammed by you when they're buying it, so they're gonna wanna repeat their services there. It just blows my mind. It's one of the most frustrating things. And the con is, I shouldn't say smaller, because for the safety aspect, it's probably a little bit bigger. But the safety squat bar, if the transformer bar, if you have a bunch of them in a weight room with athletes that are new to lifting, these things rotate in and out. If you don't have the weight on them and you accidentally rotate it, then you put the weight on and then you start moving, they can move. And then these things, like these, I don't even know what they are, like the actual like things that load the weight, the actual ends of the barbell can fall off. And we've never actually had it happen in the gym when an athlete's squatting, but we've had it close where an athlete is putting on weight and it moves just a little bit. Or I've caught them like starting to put the weight on when it's not straight and I have to straighten it. I wish I could show you this thing on the side, but it just has to be parallel to the thing and not vertical. And the verticalness allows you to move this thing up and down, so it's like part of the process. But we only have one of these bars and we've had close situations with it, and I understand that's like part of being a coach is like the safety aspect and looking around it. But if you are in a group with like 60 athletes, especially in a high school setting, I really do think you would run into some problems where an athlete's not paying attention, they have that thing vertical or just like at a 45-degree angle, they put on some weight, they start moving around and that thing gets loosened and it falls off when they're squatting, and I think that could be a little bit dangerous. So I think that's a little bit of a design flaw to where it like doesn't actually lock in or give you some confirmation that it's locked in. It makes it easy to like move that bar and transform the bar. It's a transformer bar. But if you had like 15 of these bars in a gym with 100 athletes and you're in that high school setting, I think that could be a little bit dangerous, and you would just have to stress as a coach. And I don't know if that's totally worth it for me. Again, we only have one in our small weight room with 20 athletes, and we've had close situations, and my athletes are a little bit idiots, but I do monitor it, I do look at it, and I only have one bar. If I had 15 bars where in a high school setting, you are not seeing, any coach that tells you they're seeing everything that goes on in their weight room in a high school setting is just totally full of shit. And if you had this in a weight room, you definitely run into that situation where you're not seeing that happen and athletes not paying attention. Doesn't matter how many times you warn a high school athlete. I've warned my 20 athletes that I have in person hundreds of times about that, and they still mess it up, right? So I definitely think you could run into an issue there, but I think the collar situation and just creating a good product outweighs that for me, just because they're not trying to scam you like I think some other bars are. But let's get the second set here. Let's go. Oh, let's go. Chowing down on our intra-workout apple. Switching it up today, leaving the orange for a post-workout. Tastes delicious. Let's hit this third set. Let's go. All right, last thing I have to say about this bar, so I stopped sounding like a corporate shill, although I feel like I've given a pretty unbiased review here. The starting strength on this bar, it's different, man. Trying to learn how to drive against this bar, it's really hard. Like, there's not a lot to drive against. It feels more like a bell squat machine. You can less like pull the bar into your back and like use some of that to like get the bar up. And it's a freaking beast to get moving again. These pause squats with this are actually kind of spicy. I've been a fan. Let's get this last set here. This is going to be a send. Oof. Oof. Come on. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Get to some snatch deads. All right, then we're finishing up our workout with this back attack. We got 3 sets of 5 of these snatch deadlifts. We got our last set here. 4 sets of 5 pull-ups, 4 sets of 20 of reverse hypers. We're stimulated today. I want to go over my last little old man rant of the day, and it's a little bit about Instagram etiquette. I had this high school kid DM me. I have never talked to this kid. He has never DM'd me before. He has never said anything about supporting the channel. I honestly believe he just followed me. Like, I want to say he just followed me a day ago and then sent this message and said, "What do you see with my squat form here? Hurt my back about 4 months ago, and I believe it was because of lumbar extension. Pain is gone, but I want to make sure it stays that way." And then sent me a video of like the worst possible squat of all time, which, whatever. If you have a bad squat and you're looking to fix your squat, I'm always game to help. I'm always game to give my time, always game to give like anything that high school Austin would have looked for. But you know what high school Austin wouldn't have done is just fucking assume somebody that is a professional in the field is going to like owes me something. And that I can just send them things like that, like a demand almost to fix me with no previous conversation, no, "Hey dude," like all you would have to do is send, "Hey dude, I appreciate the content you put out. Can you help me?" ? But it was assumed. It was like I owed him something because I post stuff on Instagram. And it's so wild to me. It's like, imagine DMing a tax accountant and be like, "Hey, here are my taxes, do them." Like, there's nothing in the world that makes me want to help you less. And again, I get high schoolers are idiots, and you gotta learn, and I'll send them a message and like help them out there. But the attitude and like the lack of etiquette when it comes to asking for help and asking for assistance, especially with somebody that owns a business. I have consults, I have thousands of pieces of content talking about this stuff. I guarantee he hasn't watched any of them or looked up any of them. He's just looking for a simple fix answer. And just the way some people go about it. And then you have people on the back end getting pissed at Jake Turra for saying buy program or Will saying buy Haas. It's like, yeah, because they get hundreds of DMs like that a day of people just assuming they owe you something. They owe you time. And it's such a crazy way to go about it. Every one of my friends, every person in the business that I've met that is at a high level in the business, if you approach them in the right way and you ask for help, and you are sincere, and you are supporting their company, and it doesn't need to be supporting monetarily, but just like a, "Hey, I appreciate what you do," and you just approach it in a little bit better way. I don't know a single one of them that wouldn't take the time out of their day to help you. But if you approach it in a way in which like it's a low IQ, low effort, just give me a piece of candy, give me some of your work for free type DMs, like you don't deserve anything more than a buy program. And you don't get to get pissed at people when they reply to your DMs, your lazy ass DMs, your privileged ass DMs about that. It's like you deserve that reply. And you don't get to get mad about something you deserve, right? So let's get this last set here and let's be a little bit more, let's be a little better in the DMs here, all right? 3 sets of 5, let's get it. Oof. 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 Let's go. That was something I wanted to mention before that rant is last week I was pretty gas on those snatch deadlifts and didn't have a high level of focus, but I was pretty hingy on those snatch deadlifts. I really want to be a little bit more squatting in those snatch deadlifts and treat them a little bit more like a squat rather than like an RDL. Last week I didn't like the way those looked and those felt much better. So let's get to some pull-ups and some reverse hypers here. Then we got our pull-ups, 4 sets of 5, same as the last couple of weeks. Just adding slabs, baby, adding slabs. Let's go. Let's go. Finish with some reverse hypers and get out of here. Oh my God. All right, and then the last thing we got in this back attack for the workout is 4 sets of 20 of these reverse hypers here. Opening up that back, leaving on a good note, getting a little pump. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Oh my God. We are amply stimulated. We're gonna try and hit some bombs. Leagues and I feel drunk right now. Keep chopping wood. Appreciate you guys watching. Oh my God.